Polestar 4 is one of the best looking of that bunch. It's basically an electric fastback SUV and it's got the right looks. I'm talking serious curb appeal.
With this car, they're going to get their global success because from what I've seen behind me, this is an incredible upgrade to what they already offer.
It's the company's latest model and it's really quite stylish.
I really like this design, the Polestar 4 design. I think it's a beautiful car.
And I'm standing next to the Polestar 4. And this is an important car for Polestar. They've had a great success in the US, in Europe and the UK, but their success in China has been a little bit muted. Now, as you can see, this is a step up in design from the Polestar 2, very much based on the Precept concept, which we saw just a short time ago. I think this looks in the flesh as amazing it does on camera. Now, as we come round, it's got kind of Polestar 2 vibes, it's got the Precept vibes, and this is the top of the range one. So it has the 22-inch wheels, it's got the yellow Brembo brakes and the little yellow bits down here, just like the Polestar 2 performance version. Now, they have other packs as well, just like the Polestar 2. We come down here, you'll see again, it echoes the Polestar 2 in a lot of ways, but it's kind of an upgrade. I think it's a little bit taller, a little bit wider.
In a way, the side profile is actually similar to the Polestar 2, but it's a much shorter rear end.
This is like a product design feel to it, meaning there's a lot of parallel lines and there's a lot of flat surfaces, not a lot of flowing surfaces and emotional design in this, but there's still a couple of key lines that creates this automotive feel in this otherwise very product design styling that we have in the Polestar. And I think that is essentially Polestar's design philosophy, to mix product design with a bit of sprinkle of a couple of lines that adds this automotive design treatment to it. I do like these new daytime running lights that we have coming from Volvo and old Polestar models, where we have one Thor's hammer just being attached like this. They're now split, so we have two different sections of the Thor's hammer. It still has the same kind of identity if you look at this at night. And then we have these lines on the hood. This is what I'm talking about. Here we see some of this automotive design feel with these lines and fenders, creating more sporty look. The lower part looks super clean too. We have this black plastic cladding down here. I think this has to be plastic with a big grille in the front end. This grille looks a lot bigger than what I'm used to seeing on EVs.
It's a little bit tricky to see, but the Polestar logo is actually backlit. And you'll see that unlike the Polestar 3, which has all of the sensors in here, it's actually spread out further on this car. So you've got your radar down here, you have a front-facing camera, you then have further front-facing cameras on the door mirrors, you've got cameras up there as well. So you still have all the same driver assistance hardware that's there, but it's just laid out in a different way on this. Down the side, there's more rear-facing camera here for your blind spot. That's a little bit of idea. So you've got your two cameras here on the doors, pop-out door handles, a bit like what's on the Polestar 2.
There's also tons of driver safety tech. The Polestar 4 is fitted with 12 cameras, a radar, and 12 ultrasonic sensors. And with the optional pilot pack with pilot assist, you have a good level of hands-free capability, plus the ability to have the car handle lane changes with a tap of the indicator.
This one is on massive 22-inch wheels as well. Really enhances that sporty feel that this is going to have. This is a really high performance electric vehicle. It's going to be 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds. Does anybody need that? Not really, but Polestar is also saying, aside from having loads of performance, it is going to have lots of good handling as well.
The Polestar 4 is available with dual motors or a single rear motor, and it's designed to give you the ultimate driving experience. It may be a little on the heavy side at over 2.2 tons, but with its incredible features and stunning design, it's a ride you won't want to miss out on.
This comes in two flavors. This is the dual motor performance version. I think it's got 544 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Then there's the single motor version, which is actually in the rear. That's a big step up from the Polestar 2 first generation, which had the single motor in the front. So we rear wheel drive, which is great. That comes about 250 miles of WLTP range. And it's about 272 horsepower. So no slouch at all. This will get you to where you need to go, quickly or slowly, but definitely in a lot of comfort.
Around the back of the Polestar 4 is where you see what's easily one of the biggest talking points. There's no rear window in the back at all. Instead, you have rear-facing cameras just there, and that gives you a permanent, unobstructed view of what's going on behind you. Your third brake light is mounted in there, and then you have what's now become a bit of a design trait for Polestar of this full width light bar all the way across.
Oddly, however, Polestar has decided that this one doesn't need a rear window. Instead, the Polestar 4 gets a rearview mirror that displays a high-definition picture of what's going on behind the car. Polestar is quick to say that the viewing angle delivers a wider field of view compared to what you'd see in other vehicles. And if you don't want to see what's going on behind the vehicle, you can turn off the display and see what your kids are doing in the back seat.
Now you might notice one special thing back here, which is it has no rear window at all. In fact, the rear window basically is this camera and your windscreen mirror up the front. That's right, no rear window. Now, I think that's a little bit controversial. Sometimes it can be frustrating looking at a screen instead of looking out the back window, but that's what they've gone for with this car. And look at this back end, it looks so good. Now, maybe they've done it from an aesthetic standpoint, but in actual fact, it's hiding a massive boot on the inside. So if we press this button here, and the boot will open, this comes with a huge 500 litres of boot space. That is massive. Now, I actually moved house in the Polestar 2 using its very big boot, but this is much bigger. And with those back seats folded down, it's over 1,500 litres of boot space. That is huge. Again, it's got a false floor. It's very, very practical, which you would hope for from an SUV coupe.
Interestingly, this lack of a rear window lets Polestar put a panoramic roof overhead that stretches farther back past the heads of rear seat passengers. That should allow for a nice airy feeling when you're sitting back there. And you can click an options box when you order the 4 to select the optional electrochromic functionality for the roof. Then you're able to adjust the amount of light coming through.
Sitting inside, this is what it's like inside the Polestar 4. A really nice big touchscreen setup here in front of you, air vents just below, and then very, very minimalist controls here on the center console. You've got a volume play button here, digital instrument display right in front of you, and some haptic controls here on the steering wheel. The gear selector is, drive selector I should say, is just here. So you've just got like an indicator stalk and then different switch gear here for your wipers and your indicators and your lights. All very, very minimalist design. Similar layout and look and feel to the interior as well here on the graphics display. It shows you real-time view, so you've got like a graphical representation of what it's like with the traffic around you. Some driver-facing cameras here. And this is what the rear view is like. So because you don't have a rear window, everything is done here on the mirror, and it gives you a very clear view of what it's like. There's also a in-car camera here as well. So there is a hell of a lot of cameras in here. The driving position is very, very comfortable. It's very nicely laid out. There's a lot of space in here as well, so it does feel pretty good.
First of all, we have a gauge cluster right here, which is nice, even though it's not the best integrated one. Then we have this landscape-oriented infotainment screen, which looks very similar to the Teslas with the same kind of format. Looks like we have some vents down here. Are these vents or what are these things? Some detail down here at least that makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. And this is what I'm talking about. Just have a couple of things like this. You see this section here, something is going on in the armrest here or in the center console that makes it more interesting to be in. Same thing with the doors. We have these solar system or whatever they call it, inspired ambient lighting in the interior, looking really nice. Steering wheel looks a lot nicer than the boring, simple steering wheel that we have in the Tesla. Everything on the interior of the Polestar 4 is just a win for me in this comparison.
They've kept it very simple around here. I've got a lovely dial here which controls some of the features on the screen. Now the screen is all Google Play, and again it's got the cloth, the weave tech around the seats and on the seat here, and just the interior in general just feels very nice. Again, huge roof up here making it feel very light and very comfortable, and plenty of room in the back for your passengers.
Having that design in the roof means that there's actually better headroom in the back. So you can see how it comes round, comes all the way down here, and then it falls away. So that means you've got much better headroom in the rear seat. Taller passengers will find it fairly comfortable in there. In the rear, you can fold down the center armrest here. I'm just going to get in. I'll pop that up out of the way. And this is what it's like in the back. So you have a full length glass roof all this way. Looks very nice. You've got the Polestar logo there. But you've got this light bar across the back, so it's kind of illuminated in here as well. So it's not going to feel very dark at all. The seats are very nicely recessed in. There's this very unusual, very technical fabric in here as well. And it all looks and feels very, very premium, I have to say. The lighting here in the door strips, and you've got obviously interior lighting around here. But how all this is shaped and how it comes out, this is like a very hard kind of mesh fabric, but it actually does feel very, very nice. I've got plenty of leg room here. So that's how much leg room I've got. And as you can see, I've got plenty of headroom here as well. So it's pretty comfortable. From the back seat anyway, it's very comfortable.
Additionally, the 4 is capable of bi-directional charging and has a heat pump to make sure the battery is ready to juice up at the best charging speeds.
And the price, and when's it coming out? This is priced at about 60,000 euros, more or less, and it'll be released in China in November 2023, followed by Europe shortly after that. I think, as you can tell, I'm quite excited. I'm also quite hot and sweaty that this is coming to market very soon. It's a really good competitor for those bigger saloons or bigger SUV coupes. And I am really excited to start to see these on the roads very, very soon.